This is It Was a Thing on TV.
Spoiler number one is Dr. Lee frowns. It stinks.
What is going on? What is going on?
Episode 48, submission 210, Malcolm. Malcolm was an unaired pilot for NBC in 1983.
Hey, isn't that our theme music?
It sure is, and you know what that means? We're about to have a lot of fun together. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm dancing as fast as I can. Will you introduce me?
You got it, partner. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my good friend, Malcolm.
Hey, okay. Thank you. Oh, look at that crowd. Thank you so much. Welcome to my show. And now I'd like to introduce my good buddy and the man with all the questions, Mr. Alex Trebek. Come on out here, Alex. Whoa.
Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Happy to welcome all of you to our show. Yes, indeed. I'm going to call it our show, even though I realize full well that that's not my name you see up there.
Guys, when you hear the name Malcolm in terms of a TV show, you'd think it would be probably a sitcom, maybe some person's, variety show or talk show. But
I would think about Malcolm and Eddie. But yeah.
Or Malcolm in the Middle.
Or Malcolm in the Middle. But would you believe that this show, Malcolm, was a game show?
What? Sorry,
Who's
what?
ever heard of a game show called Malcolm?
And what would a game show called Malcolm entail?
Well, I'm glad you asked. To begin with, Malcolm was hosted by Alex Trebek, who we've already covered, I think this is the fourth time we've covered him in 6 months. So, Alex, we love you.
I'll never forget the time he rubbed my head for good luck.
Woo!
My bald head, come on!
Greg, you do it again.
Woo!
Would you like to retract that statement?
Hell no.
Oh, I hope I get on the show just so, Trebek says, oh, and you do a podcast about television shows. What type of shows do you talk about? Oh, we talk about generally bad or short-lived or just forgotten TV shows. Have you covered any of my TV shows? Yeah, we've done 4 episodes thus far on your shows. And he's going to give you the look, and he's going to deadpan to the camera, going to the next contestant. Okay, Janice, God. you can select the next category and clue.
So Malcolm is a game show.
Malcolm is a game show, yes. Hosted by the venerable Alex Trebek. And what the key here was, there was an animated sidekick named Malcolm. And who is Malcolm? Malcolm is an animated character created using Aniforms technology.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you can see an example of this. I believe you can see an example of this on YouTube. There was an episode, I believe, of either What's My Line or I've Got a Secret. I think it was I've Got a Secret back in 1972, where this technology is used, showing this character which looks similar but not exactly like Malcolm.
So this was basically a 1980s version of the animation technology that Homer Simpson invested in that one episode of The Simpsons.
The game itself was actually very clever. A question was read or a statement was read, and there were 2-word answers. And what happened is you had 3 players, 3 contestants. The first 2 to buzz in, depending on the order they buzzed in, gave either the first word or the second word of that statement. So if that happened, if you had 2 contestants ring in and both were right, they each got 10 points. Nice and simple. Now, where Malcolm comes into play is if one of them is wrong, both the contestants that jumped in are out of the round, and Malcolm comes into play with the third contestant, the leftover contestant that didn't buzz in, and Malcolm would give the first part of the answer. So that made it a lot easier for the person who didn't buzz in early or wasn't one of the first two to buzz in. And the idea was the first person to get 50 points won the game and stayed on the show, but also the person who helped that person get to 50 points stayed on the show as well. So it wasn't necessarily the second place person. It was the person who might have been in the last place who helped the winner win. Those people stayed.
Yeah, that was referred to on the show as Malcolm's Rule.
Exactly. And it's never said on the show what happens if going for... it's never said what happens on the show if you have the situation with Malcolm and the person who didn't buzz in, if that person who buzzes in gets to the 50-point mark. Because technically, the person who helped you out is Malcolm. Malcolm's going to be on the show regardless. Do they just bring on two new contestants? Just throwing that hypothetical out there.
Well, we'll never know.
Now that we have our champion and the returning player, we go to the bonus game. So in the bonus round, the day's winner and Malcolm played, just like we talked about earlier for the penalty type of questions, where Malcolm gives the first half and the contestant gives the second half. There's 8 categories shown on an M-shaped board. It's Malcolm's first initial, an M. Isn't that adorable?
Oh.
So what happened is you had 90 seconds, and the contestant chose a category. And you had a question in the similar 2-part fashion. And if you got it correct, you got to see what the prize underneath that category was. If you wanted to win that prize, you could answer another question in that category. Or if you wanted to skip it because the prize was not something you wanted or is low valued, you can go to another category and do the same thing. Get the first one right, you'll see what the prize is. If you want to play for it, you have to answer a second question right. Otherwise, go to another category. There's a couple of catches, though. There is a $10,000 prize up there. That's the top prize in the game. But in order to claim that top prize, you need to acquire a prize before that. And it could be a good prize, like a trip or a somewhat decent amount of cash. Or it could be something bad, like a Malcolm poster.
What the heck is a Malcolm poster? Who would want to win a poster of Malcolm?
I don't know. A person who really likes Malcolm. I don't know.
What would you do with the Malcolm poster?
I'd actually put it in the it was a thing on TV museum. It would welcome you as Professor Price and the McLean Stevenson statue greet you.
While the Superman balloon from the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is peeking its head through the side of the door.
As the Super Train model toots its horn in celebration. Yes. We're going to make this thing a real thing. Everybody's going to want to come to this museum of television oddities. But also, there's other small prizes like Malcolm boxer shorts. Who's going to wear Malcolm boxer shorts?
Somebody who's down to their last pair, obviously. Laugh now, but you know this is a legitimate response.
The Malcolm pair of boxer shorts is the emergency pair. That's the pair that tells you, oh crap, I better do a load of laundry. Oh no. The idea was in the 90 seconds, either accumulate as many prizes as you could, or if you won the $10,000, the game's over right there, and you keep what you had already won. So, best case scenario is you could get the $10,000 and maybe 2 prizes, or, at the very least, because of the rule of this game, $10,000 and 1 prize, so that's not too bad.
No.
And then after this bonus round, we continue the whole thing all over again. It's just very interesting. A couple of things I found very interesting about this show. Alex's interactions with a character that was on a TV screen. Alex was at a certain time in his life, I think. And by that, I mean, if you look at his shows around that time, specifically Future Installment, Battlestars and the New Battlestars. Basically his pre-Jeopardy stuff. Like I said, Battlestars, New Battlestars. Former entry Pitfall to a small extent, where he was a little goofy. Plus also, he did the same in Classic Concentration. He really sort of opened up from his semi-stodgy persona he'd have on Jeopardy! But just his interactions with this cartoon that was on a television set or a monitor, very funny, very goofy.
It was strange, especially when you consider what Alex has grown to become nowadays.
Yes, it's definitely very unusual compared to the Alex Trebek that we've seen for the last 35 or so years on Jeopardy! But it's also sort of refreshing. It shows his goofy side. It shows that he doesn't take things too seriously. Not that he takes Jeopardy! Overly seriously.
And let's be honest. Thank God for Alex Trebek's goofy side, right?
Oh, yes. We need that during these tough times. And as we said, this is a pilot for NBC in 1983, which makes me think this might have been a replacement for the aforementioned New Battlestars, possibly.
Well, it was made by the same company as Battlestars, you know.
Well, true, and the same host. Or it might have been possibly a replacement for something down the line, like Dreamhouse, possibly. Or maybe it might have taken the place of what would have eventually aired in the noontime slot, Hot Potato. I'm sure some people know this, and I'm sure maybe even Greg and Chico know this. Who's responsible for the Malcolm pilot?
You damn it.
You're speaking to him. You're exactly right. So what the story is around 2001, I found a video on eBay, and it was just called Alex Trebek Pilot. And I still have the videotape somewhere in my house. And I figured for $10, oh, what can I lose? Let me buy it. And I saw this, and as soon as I saw it, I had to put it online. And
you did.
And the rest is history, let's say. This is not necessarily the most liked pilot in television history. I know people like Greg, they've been ruining me for years since I posted it. Isn't that right, yeah. Greg?
Yeah, dang it. This is giving me horrors. I'm probably the person that's unleashed Malcolm on the world more than you.
You're probably right about that. Well, at least in terms of tape trading. I did put it on a website, so it's sort of kind of equal distribution there.
Yeah, blame us for this show.
Well, blame me. Don't blame Greg. Blame me most. I'm the one who found it, not Greg. He was just the unfortunate recipient of it in a tape trade.
Yeah.
But also on top of that, we've talked about the game. We talked about the bonus round. Possibly the best part of this show was the end credits.
Oh, was it ever the best part?
You're going to play the end credits now, aren't you?
All right, Malcolm. I'll tell you what, we're just about out of time. We're not going to have enough time to play the bonus round, I don't think. So we might as well wrap things up right here. When we come back, you know what happens.
Right.
Kathy plays the bonus round. Then we start a new match with Kathy, Kevin, and a new player.
Oh.
And I want to tell you, before we leave, I think you've done a great job today.
Aw, thanks a lot, Alex. You're not so bad yourself. I mean, what are pals for but to help each other out?
Absolutely. But I got to be honest with you. I was worried because I thought you'd be coming up a little short on the program today.
Hey, watch it with the short jokes.
I'm sorry.
I
tell
can
you
do
what.
20 minutes on your mustache if you give me a...
Whoops, I bet you can. I'll tell you what, to make it up to you, why don't you and I go to lunch? And I'll pick up the tab. How's that?
Okay, good
What are you
idea.
gonna order?
Well, I think we go across the street to the little taco stand.
You're going to order child's portions?
No.
Oh, darn
Have a couple of enchiladas, a taco
Let's say goodbye
or two,
to the folks.
Little
You
salad.
get your hat and coat, and we'll go to lunch. So long,
Okay,
everybody.
so long, everybody.
See you next time around.
Bye-bye.
Now, what are you going to order?
He was working. Oh, Jerry, the guy pushing the buttons up here. Art, big art. Okay. Who are? I don't get it. I don't remember all of these people. I don't remember these people.
I was wondering, where did donuts went? This was it. Oh, Jan, she's the one who feeds me those answers. That's great. Oh, I know these people. These names are familiar. Somebody write these down, quick. Don't forget. Oh, here's Jim. Great. The place never looked this crowded. Sure, these people just weren't on the NBC tour? Project engineer, what the heck is that? And why was Merrill's name at the beginning? He wasn't here the whole time. But
So now, as you heard in the end credits, you had Malcolm basically giving his commentary to everybody who worked on the show and to the production itself, which also makes me wonder if this may, well, I don't want to say it would necessarily have been for fun, but obviously, as I mentioned earlier regarding Alex Trebek, it sort of poked fun at itself throughout the entirety of the game and the credits.
Yeah.
So it sort of fit in with the whole mentality of, you have Alex Trebek, who's been hosting game shows at that point for 10 years, and he's dealing with an on-screen cartoon character. But you have Malcolm commenting about the credits, and it was goofy. It was bizarre.
It was indeed.
It was goofy. It was bizarre. It was a thing on TV. Almost.
Well, it was a thing on TV if you got it through a tape trade. So that was Malcolm. That was our first entry into what's essentially going to be a month worth of pilots. We're gonna talk about pilots for the entirety of April and the beginning of May, minus 2 episodes, minus 2 timely episodes. Let's just say that they have to do with certain events that are coming up. So, taking a look at this list, oh my gosh, we've got some amazing pilots coming up.
Well, yeah, and I can learn to love that one.
There's some good pilots, there's some bad pilots, there's just some really weird pilots. 5 of the next 7 episodes are going to be about unaired pilots. And we got some good ones here. So please stick around for that. And also, as always, please remember we've got a website. Visit it. Listen to past episodes. Follow us on social media. Like and subscribe, rate and review, all that fun stuff. We're at www.itwasathingontv.com. And also, as I said, look for us on social media. Just about any place you go, we're at It Was a Thing on TV. And as always, as Chico would say,
don't forget to share, because sharing is caring.
Indeed. Well, like I said, next week we're going to have 1 pilot and also 1 non-pilot. We're not going to tell you what either of them are about, but they're going to be good.
Oh, and especially the pilot that we're going to be talking about next week.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. The pilot next week is going to be a really good one. So, for Greg and for Chico, I'm Mike. We will catch you next week with more installments of It Was a Thing on TV. Bye-bye.
Wow! Next question for you. The avocado often goes by another name, that of an ugly animal and a fruit. What is it? Susie's in first, and she is joined by Kathy. That's it. Susie, give me the first word.
Alligator.
Kathy. Second word.
Guacamole.
Alligator guacamole. Hey. Wait a minute. Wait just a minute. It's alligator pear. No points for either one of our ladies right now.